Bears are among the most amazing and powerful creatures in nature, attracting the hearts and minds of those who research them. Despite their beauty and power, these majestic animals also have a dangerous allure. The stories of Michio Hoshino, Timothy Treadwell, and Vitali Nikolayenko are clear examples of this dangerous balance. How did such tragic incidents occur in the world of bear research? The stories of Michio, Vitali, and Timothy are among the most heartbreaking in wildlife conservation history. Michio Hoshino was born on September 27, 1952, in Ichikawa, Japan. From an early age, he exhibited a keen interest in the natural world. Growing up in a family that valued education and exploration, Michio was encouraged to pursue his passions. As a teenager, he developed a profound enthusiasm for wildlife photography, which would become the cornerstone of his life and career. Michio attended Keio University in Tokyo, where he majored in economics, graduating in 1976. Despite his academic focus, his heart was set on exploring and documenting nature. It was during his time at university that he came across a photography book featuring the village of Shishmaref in Alaska. This discovery sparked his fascination with Alaska's wilderness and the lifestyles of its indigenous communities. At the age of 19, Michio wrote to the mayor of Shishmaref, and 6 months later received an invitation to visit. This opportunity marked the beginning of his lifelong connection with Alaska. During one of his university summers, he spent 3 months living with an Inuit family in the village, immersing himself in their way of life and learning about their culture. Upon returning to Japan, Michio's experience in Alaska solidified his determination to become a wildlife photographer. He returned to the United States, enrolling at University of Alaska Fairbanks to study wildlife biology. During his time, he gained work experience with professional photographers, honing his skills and venturing into the Alaskan wilderness to capture the perfect shots. Michio's unique ability to blend storytelling with photography brought the natural world of Alaska to audiences around the globe. His essays and photographs were published widely, earning him prestigious awards and international recognition. He was often compared to the legendary photographer Ansel Adams for his exceptional ability to capture the beauty and majesty of nature. In August 1996, Michio was assigned to work on a documentary about brown bears for a Japanese television station. The project took him to Kurilskoye Lake on the Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia. This lake, known for its high population of brown bears, was a perfect location for the documentary. However, it was here that Michio's life would tragically come to an end. Hoshino had flown to the South Kamchatka Federal Wildlife Reserve with 3 Japanese cameramen to film a documentary about his work. The group was guided by Igor Revnenko, a local bear expert and researcher from the Kamchatka Nature Management Department of the Pacific Institute of Geography. The team settled at a remote hunting cordon at Cape Suez, known as Travanoy. The area was unfenced and the group was unarmed, relying on false fires for protection. Despite Hoshino's extensive experience in the wild, he pitched his tent next to the hunting lodge where the rest of the team were sleeping, disregarding basic safety rules. 2 days before the incident, Igor noticed signs of bear activity around their camp. Bear scat and markings were visible, indicating that a bear had investigated their campsite. This discovery was unsettling, and it suggested that the bear was curious and unafraid of human presence, a potentially dangerous combination. On the night of August 8, 1996, the production team had finished their work for the day and settled in for the night. The cabin where they stayed was full, and Michio opted to sleep outside in his tent, just a few yards away from the cabin. Despite Igor's warnings about the bear's recent activity, Michio preferred the solitude and proximity to nature that the tent offered. At approximately 4 a.m., just before dawn, the camp was plunged into chaos. A large grizzly bear approached Michio's tent, drawn by the scent of the occupants. The bear sniffed around the tent, its heavy paws rustling the vegetation. Michio awoke to the sounds of the bear's growling and snorting just inches from his face. Unlike other bears, this one did not fear humans and continued fishing calmly even when approached. This allowed Hoshino to photograph the bear from a close distance. Igor, however, noticed signs of aggression in the bear's behavior. It became nervous, angry, and even tried to approach the group. Igor warned Hoshino about the bear's aggression and suggested he sleep inside the lodge. Hoshino refused, choosing to stay in his tent. Despite multiple warnings, Hoshino believed that all creatures would sense his good intentions and respond kindly. In a sudden and terrifying moment, the bear slashed through the tent with its powerful front paws. Michio screamed in alarm and kicked at the bear's face as it lunged through the canvas. His cries woke his colleagues in his cabin. Igor heard the commotion outside. He opened the cabin door and saw the back end of a huge grizzly bear sticking out of Michio's tent. The bear was attacking Michio, and Igor shouted, "Tent, bear, tent." Everyone jumped out of bed and ran outside. Michio fought back, but the bear bit down on him repeatedly, tearing flesh and biting into bone. He was powerless in the bear's jaws. The bear shook its head from side to side, tossing Michio around like a rag doll. His colleagues were just 10 meters away. The team, armed with makeshift weapons like a metal bucket and a spade, attempted to scare the bear away by making loud noises. Despite their efforts, the bear remained undeterred, focused on Michio. It bit down on him repeatedly, inflicting fatal injuries. The bear dragged Michio from his tent and into the surrounding woods. The team was unable to follow the bear into the darkness and had to wait until daylight to search for Michio. The following morning, Igor took a boat to the Kamchatka observation station and reported the tragedy to the reserve's management. In response, a helicopter carrying representatives of the Kurilskoye Reserve and several hunters immediately flew to Travyanoi. The armed group, led by senior researcher Masalov, arrived to find the bear still near Michio's remains. The bear did not try to flee, but instead made aggressive lunges towards the aircraft. The bear was shot from the air, and an autopsy later revealed human body parts in its stomach. Photographer Nick Jans recalled that Hoshino had only smiled at warnings, confident that all creatures would sense his good intentions and respond kindly. Meanwhile, the helicopter pilots said that Michio had refused to participate in a drinking party at the lodge and, unable to endure the snoring of a representative of the reserve, opted to sleep in his tent. Later, a Russian wildlife photographer and environmental inspector explained in his blog that the bear had been food conditioned by irresponsible photographers and filmmakers who had previously worked in the area before Hoshino's arrival. As news of this tragic incident spread, a photograph surfaced online and quickly went viral. The disturbing image claimed to be the last photo taken by Michio before his death. It showed an aggressive grizzly bear peering through the open door of a tent, with the bear's long canines and menacing stance appearing to be moments before the attack. However, this photo was later revealed to be fake. The lighting on the bear did not match the lighting on the tent, and the scene was in broad daylight, even though the attack occurred at around 4 a.m. Michio Hoshino's memory has been honored in several meaningful ways since his tragic death. A memorial plaque was installed at the site where he lost his life, commemorating his contributions and sacrifice. On August 8, 2008, the 12th anniversary of his death, a totem pole was erected in Sitka, Alaska, to celebrate his work and impact on wildlife photography. The ceremony was attended by his widow Naoko and other relatives and witnesses from Japan. In August 2021, the Alaska legislature recognized Hoshino's exceptional contributions to the field with a citation highlighting his breathtaking photos of Alaska's wildlife and scenery. Naoko Hoshino attended the ceremony to accept the honorary certificate on behalf of her late husband. Timothy Treadwell was born in New York City in 1957. His early life was marked by a challenging family environment and a troubled upbringing. From a young age, Treadwell had a deep affection for animals, even keeping a pet squirrel named Willy. After high school, Treadwell attended Bradley University on a swimming and diving scholarship. During this period, he began fabricating stories about his background, occasionally claiming to be a British orphan or from Australia. This era was also marked by personal struggles. According to his father, Treadwell's life took a downward turn when he lost a role on the sitcom Cheers to Woody Harrelson, leading him into a spiral of alcoholism. In 1987, seeking a fresh start, Treadwell legally changed his surname from Dexter to Treadwell, a name from his mother's family that he had previously used informally. Despite these changes, his struggles with addiction continued. By the late 1980s, after surviving a near-fatal heroin overdose, Treadwell began to turn his life around. He attributed his recovery from drug and alcohol addiction to his newfound passion for bears. Inspired by a close friend, Treadwell decided to travel to Alaska to observe bears. During his time studying grizzly bears in Alaska, Timothy Treadwell spent the early part of each season camping in a location he called the Big Green, an open area of bear grass in Halo Bay on Katmai Coast. He referred to this area as the Grizzly Sanctuary. In this environment, Treadwell became known for his extreme proximity to the bears he observed. He would sometimes touch them and play with bear cubs, a practice that he believed fostered a sense of mutual trust and respect between himself and the animals. Despite his close interactions, Treadwell insisted that he was always careful with the bears, and he claimed to have developed ongoing relationships with many of them, often naming the bears he encountered. As the summer progressed, Treadwell would relocate to Kalfia Bay, an area characterized by particularly thick brush that he termed the Grizzly Maze. This location was strategically chosen because it intersected with bear trails, increasing the likelihood of encountering wild bears. Treadwell's work in this area involved recording nearly 100 hours of video footage, some of which was later used in the documentary Grizzly Man. He also produced a large collection of still photographs documenting his interactions with the bears. However, the harsh reality is that when dealing with bears or other dangerous wild animals, you need to stay grounded in reality. If you don't, one small mistake could be fatal. The Alaskan brown bear is one of the largest predators on Earth, with adult males weighing up to 360 kilograms and standing about 3 meters tall on 2 legs. Despite their size and strength, they usually aren't aggressive towards humans unless they feel threatened or are extremely hungry and desperate enough to see people as food. The chance of a bear attack is about 1 in 2.1 million, and in the 85 years of Katmai National Park's history, no one had ever been killed by a bear until this incident. One major mistake Timothy made was thinking he no longer needed bear spray for safety. Another mistake was his constant contact with the bears made them used to humans, which can lead them to lose their fear and even try to take food from people. Timothy thought the bear saw him as a friend, not as a potential meal. The biggest mistake, and the most tragic, was letting his girlfriend Amie Huguenard, who was not experienced with bears and was afraid of them, take the same risk. In October 2003, Timothy Treadwell and his girlfriend Amie Huguenard visited Katmai National Park on the Alaska Peninsula, across Shelikof Strait from Kodiak Island. They set their campsite near a salmon stream, a common feeding ground for bears in the autumn. The couple had initially planned to leave the park on September 26th and had returned to Kodiak Island to store their gear and catch a flight home to California. However, after a dispute with an airline ticket agent over the cost of changing their return ticket, they decided to return to their campsite on September 29th for an additional week. Treadwell wanted to find a favorite female bear he was concerned about. His diaries and the documentary Grizzly Man reveal that Huguenard was uncomfortable around bears and wanted to leave Katmai, a sentiment expressed in her final journal entries. On October 5th, Treadwell spoke by satellite phone with an associate in Malibu, California, and reported no problems with the bears. The next day, October 6, Willy Fulton, a Kodiak air taxi pilot, arrived at the campsite to pick up the couple. He found the area abandoned except for a bear and immediately contacted local park rangers. Upon investigation, Treadwell and Huguenard's remains were discovered in a horrifying state. Treadwell's disfigured head, a partial spine, and his right forearm with his wristwatch still on were found a short distance from the camp. Huguenard's partial remains were found next to their torn and collapsed tents, partially buried in a mound of twigs and soil. Park rangers killed a large male bear, tagged Bear 141, which was found near the campsite, presumably protecting the area. A second adolescent bear was also killed after it charged at the rangers. Necropsies revealed human body parts in Bear 141's stomach. The younger bear had been consumed by other animals before it could be examined. A video camera recovered from the site was found to have recorded audio during the attack. but the 6-minute tape only captured sounds and cries as Timothy Treadwell was attacked by the bear. The recording starts with Treadwell screaming that he is being attacked, saying,
"Come out here, I'm being killed out here."
Because the tape only has audio, police believe the attack might have occurred while the camera was in a duffel bag or in the dark. In the film Grizzly Man, Herzog suggests that the lens cap was left on, indicating that Treadwell and Amie Huguenard were likely trying to set up the camera for another video when the attack started. The camera was turned on just before the attack and recorded 6 minutes of audio before the tape ended. This brief recording captured the initial attack, Treadwell screams, the bear's retreat after Amie told him to play dead and tried to fight the bear, and the bear's return to drag Treadwell into the forest. Vitali Nikolayenko was a dedicated adventurer who spent nearly 33 years studying brown bears in Russia. He lived and worked in the stunning Kamchatka Peninsula, a place filled with hot springs, geysers, and wild bears. He helped conduct an inquiry after Michio Hoshino was pulled out of his tent and eaten by a bear in 1996 in the Southern Reserve, where Nikolayenko was based. Nikolayenko also documented several lucky escapes during his time with the bears. He described how he had fallen down bluffs to avoid charging bears and been chased up trees. At 66, he was a senior ranger at the Kurilskoye Wildlife Reserve, where he worked to stop illegal fishing and hunting while closely observing the bears. Every night he would write detailed notes about the nearly 800 bear encounters he had each year, creating one of the most comprehensive records of bear behavior. Vitali had a deep love for nature and the bears he studied. He became so familiar with them that they got used to his presence. His favorite bear was a 6-foot male named Kurilskoye, meaning pretty face, with whom he often spent time. Over 20 years, he also closely followed another large male bear named Dobrynya, forming a strong bond where the bear would sometimes sleep just a few feet away from him. The Kurilskoye Wildlife Reserve, where Vitali worked, is a beautiful and ecologically important area on the Kamchatka Peninsula. It covers over 11,000 square kilometers and includes mountains, forest, tundra, and coastal plains. The reserve is home to a variety of wildlife, with Kamchatka brown bears being a notable highlight. It also shelters other species like snow sheep, reindeer, wolves, and many kinds of birds, making it a vital habitat for a diverse range of animals. In December 2003, Vitali Nikolayenko chose to extend his stay at the Kurilskoye Wildlife Reserve instead of heading home for the holidays. He wanted to continue his research on why some bears hadn't begun their hibernation yet. Normally, bears hibernate during the winter, finding cozy spots like hollow trees or large roots to rest. One Friday, Vitali was relaxing by his cabin window, holding a steaming cup of tea. Outside, the landscape was covered in snow, with trees bowing under the weight. He sipped his tea, enjoying the warmth and relief it brought to his muscles. He felt a deep sense of calm as he imagined the joyful welcome he would receive from his wife, Tatiana. Her laughter and presence always lifted his spirits, and he missed her dearly. As he gazed out at snowflakes gently falling, he felt a renewed sense of wonder and appreciation for the world around him. His eyes caught sight of Kurilskoye, his favorite bear, heading toward a half-frozen lake for a drink. Eager to capture some special photos and memories, Vitali decided to follow Kurilskoye to the lake. He took his camera, flare gun, and bear spray for safety and set out from his cabin. The lake wasn't far from his cabin, so he figured he'd be back before his helicopter ride. But Vitali knew the ropes here. He'd faced those tough conditions before. When he heard his bear buddy growl, it brought him back to the moment. He struggled through the deep snow on foot at first, but quickly switched to his cross-country skis, gliding smoothly along the trail marked by fresh bear prints. Determined to keep up with Kurilskoye, he pushed himself harder, feeling his muscles burn with effort. Despite the cold creeping in, he kept going, tightening his coat and staying alert as he followed the trail through the trees, knowing the bear was close by. Vitali finally found Kurilskoye, resting peacefully in a grove, his brown fur glowing in the winter sunlight. Eager to capture a memorable photo after enduring the tough weather, Vitali took out his camera. The snow-covered branches and trunks made it challenging to get a clear shot, but he was undeterred. Leaving his skis behind, he carefully entered the grove on foot, moving quietly to avoid disturbing the bear. As he approached Kurilskoye, he felt a mix of wonder and admiration. He listened to the bear's deep, rhythmic breathing, which seemed calm and serene, despite its wild nature. Steam gently rose from Kurilskoye's nostrils, blending with the cold air. It was a tranquil moment that Vitali wanted to capture and keep forever. Carefully positioning himself about 3 meters away, he readied his camera, handling the moment with great care and respect. While Vitali admired Kurilskoye's peaceful sleep, he was fully aware of the danger the bear represented. Despite its calm appearance, Kurilskoye was a formidable creature of the Kamchatka wilderness. With its massive size and powerful jaws, the bear could swiftly shift from docile to deadly if startled or threatened. Vitali, with his years of experience studying bears, understood how quickly their instincts could activate, especially when they felt their territory was at risk. His work was both exhilarating and risky, balancing the beauty of the bears with the need to respect their unpredictable nature. On Saturday, the day a helicopter was sent to transport Vitali from the reserve for his vacation, the pilot arrived to find signs of departure preparations, packed bags, and a cold cup of tea by the cabin window. However, Vitali was missing. Realizing something was wrong, the pilot alerted the search and rescue team, who immediately began a search of the snowy landscape. The team traced Vitali's ski tracks through the rugged terrain, arriving about a mile from the cabin to find his skis standing upright in the snow, marking the entrance to the grove where he had ventured the day before. Entering cautiously, the rescuers discovered Vitali's lifeless body. The empty bear spray indicated that Vitali attempted to defend himself during the attack. Kurilskoye's nearby tracks confirmed the researchers' grim encounter with his beloved bear companion. The rescue team eventually found Vitali's body near a lake, not far from his remote one-room hut on Ichikawa River. It appeared that he had used bear spray, but it had failed to protect him from the bear. Nearby, they discovered a 17-centimeter paw print from a medium-sized male bear, a half-eaten flare gun, and a broken, bloody camera. Vitali's body was recovered and returned so his family could say their goodbyes. Viktor Rybrikov, a tourist guide and close friend of Vitali, was a part of the search team. He described how Vitali had followed a large male bear to a small lake near his cabin. Vitali attempted to take photos of the bear, but trees obstructed his view, leading him to enter the grove following the bear's tracks. He managed to get within 3 meters of the bear. Rybrikov noted that Vitali used a lot of pepper spray to try to protect himself, but the flare gun remained unused, and his camera was found damaged and stained with blood. Rybrikov also recalled the recent tragedy involving American bear researcher Timothy Treadwell and his girlfriend, who were killed and partially eaten by bears in Alaska's Katmai National Park just 2 months earlier. Vitali's close approach to studying bears had been criticized by conservationists who advocated for a safer, hands-off approach. While Vitali insisted he respected the bears, his methods were controversial, and his death seemed to validate the critics' concerns. Moreover, over 20 bears that had grown accustomed to Vitali's presence became easy targets for poachers before and after his death. Despite these criticisms, Vitali Nikolayenko made significant contributions to bear behavior research. His tragic death highlighted the dangers and ethical dilemmas in studying and conserving wildlife in their natural habitats. His story remains a powerful reminder of the risk involved in working closely with wild animals. Thank you for watching. If you want to know more shocking animal attacks, simply click on the next video. Don't miss out. Hit the subscribe button for more terrifying stories. Until next time, stay safe.